What's going on? Welcome to Oakley, Texas. My hard hat's a little crooked. See if I can get that somewhat straight. Marine Corps, 2 fingers to the forehead, the top of the nose. Hoorah! I'm getting a load of waste slurry. I don't know if you can see this. He's loading this municipal waste. This is like a industrial waste, sawdust, drywall, lumber, stuff like that. It's not garbage, but as you can see, they're loading the trailer. It falls on the side. Got junk everywhere. It's an ugly load. The trailer's lined with plastic because they mix this with like a liquid and a sawdust to bind it, and just makes a little bit of a mess. So it is what it is, but we're getting it done, taking this up to Tulsa. We delivered that glass, that crushed glass, up the road to Mexia, Texas, Mexia, this morning, and then bounced down here. So we're getting it. Catch you soon. So I'm sitting on a north scale here at the top of the hill, and I will be dumping in this bay right here once he's done clearing. And yeah, hopefully it don't take too awful long. We'll get done and get going. Must be my week or few weeks for crushed glass. We're in Seulpa. We just emptied out that nasty garbage, and now we're loading some crushed glass for Indiana. We're loading off gauges here. I'm sitting on a rail line trying to get this done. I'm watching where I'm at, trying to get it. So, checking to see where I'm at on that gauge. I'm gonna have to have him move a little bit forward and a little bit back with the pile because it's getting up near the bows, and obviously we don't want the tarp ripped. But man, these guys are on it. I no sooner got here, guy came out, and he's up right up there pulling off the pile, and we're getting it done. I'm standing up here on top of this load of glass right now. I've got to get my bows put back in and cleaning off some of the rail here, but this is what it looks like in here. Gentleman over here got me loaded pretty quick. We went off gauges, and they don't have a scale here. So I actually think I cut it just a little bit short, but I'd rather be under than over. So we'll see. All right, we're gonna get the bows back and get wrapped up. Hey, good Monday morning, everybody from Northeast Ohio. Today is the 23rd of June. Out for my morning walk. It's a super nice day here, sunrise, you know. I dropped the truck off at Thermo King for its first APU service. 2,000 hours is the service interval on that. That's pretty impressive, guys. It takes a long time to get to 2,000 hours. I put that APU on, I think, in March of last year. Here it is, June of the next year. So what is that, 15 months? It took me 15 months to get to 2,000 hours. I'll take it. Not only that, but that's 2,000 hours of engine life on my truck that I didn't have to idle or use. Not to mention, you know, the most bullcrap part of it, and that's the emissions. You know, that stupid DEF system. That's the number one reason why a lot of owner-operators get out of what they're doing. Thanks, lady, for being decent enough to let me walk by. Moving on. That's the number one reason when it comes to maintenance why guys get out of it. Emissions failures and the cost of emissions. It's not engine rebuilds. It's not things like that. It's emissions. The DEF systems, the after treatment systems on these trucks is so insanely costly that you just say enough's enough. And I would never operate a truck, especially an emissions truck, without a substantial warranty to cover that because of the cost involved. I think if you do, you're a fool. But hey, everybody do your own thing. You know, if you want to pay $7,000, $8,000 to get that DPF filter replaced and that system replaced, hey, that's on you. I'd rather have a good warranty to cover most of that. But truthfully, guys, I only plan to be doing this for a couple more years, and I'm out of it anyhow. My warranty on my Peterbilt is good through January of 28 for everything. Full coverage, bumper to bumper, through January of 28. And I honestly plan, if it still holds and I'm able to do this, I plan to be out of trucking no later than the end of December 2027, and that's for tax reasons and depreciation recapture. So it's not an issue for me. Everything I have between now and then is fully warranted, and if something forces me to go past that date, then I'll just be purchasing another NTP warranty for whatever duration I feel that I'm going to need it. So, all right, that's that. Let's get off that. The purpose of this video today, quite simply, is to discuss some things, current situations with Oakley, concerns that people have been having and saying. Oh, that's so cool. There's a mama and her baby deer right over here. I don't know if you can see. Playing in the yard over there. They just crossed the road. I'd mentioned 2 videos ago that people were asking, what's going on at Oakley? You know, what's happening over there? You know, you and Paperboy aren't putting out any videos. You know, what's wrong? And I told you guys, nothing's wrong. You know, sometimes, guys, you know, we just want to take a break from making videos. We're not in the mood for it. I said that in the video. Paperboy Ron put up a comment on one of his videos that somebody had asked the same question. He said, guys, I'm just taking a break from it. You know, it is what it is. We're just taking a break. You guys read into things, and I get it. You know, it's easy to do. It's just human curiosity. I'm not faulting you for it. I'm not attacking you for it. I think we're all that way. But when you start assuming things, though, that's where you have a problem. And you always start assuming that there is an issue. You always assume that there's always something ulterior. There's something negative. There's this, there's that. And in most cases, it's really not that way. But I'll go ahead and give you guys some updates on my opinion of where Oakley's at right now from a business level standpoint in this economy. And I'll be happy to do that for you guys. Again, these are just my opinions. Okay, they're subjective, even though I try to be objective. And I try to, fly buzzing around me. And I try to be as transparent as I can be. So here's my take on it. The Biden economy took a toll on everything. And that's just a fact. I don't care where you stand politically. I don't care if you're lefty. I don't care if you're a righty. We're all making less money. Everybody is making less money than they were 4.5 years ago. That imbecile fool, Biden, and the team that he had around him were some of the most incompetent morons that have ever been in an administration in the history of my life, and probably in the history of this country. And they destroyed this economy. They destroyed our Social Security system by flooding over 10, 20, 30 million immigrants into this country, giving them Social Security that I paid into and you paid into by the tune of billions. And they have caused so much havoc, which, you know, people say, is it intentional or is it ignorance? I think it's a combination of both, that it's going to be really hard to recover from that. And then there's a lot of idiots out there that say, well, Trump's president now, how come he hasn't fixed it? He's been in office for 5 months. And everything that he's done, those leftist lunatics have went to these radical activist judges, and yes, I agree with that statement, to block everything he's done. And then you wonder why he hasn't done anything. You freaking morons. Moving on from that. Why do I say that? Because that economy has hit Oakley as well as it has any other company that's out here. I mean, guys, there's a shit ton of trucking companies that have gone out of business. I heard a statistic recently that it's 1,000 to 2,000 trucking companies a week are folding. Smaller ones, of course. But nonetheless, those are entities, MC numbers, that are falling off of the radar. Now, is that good for trucking? I guess. Less trucks on the road, less competition. You know, it's all competition-driven, market-driven, and things of that nature. But then again, it's sad because the money's not there, the market isn't there, and whatnot. So it's unfortunate. Beyond that, with Oakley's not cheap. I don't know what Oakley's rates are, but from what I understand, Oakley charges a premium for us, which I think is great, because I think we're premium owner-operators. And I think we do a premium job. So they charge that premium. And obviously, our market, every market, in many cases, is price-driven. And a lot of these customers are going to go with the lowest rate or a lesser rate. Well, there's something to be said for that, because if you're a carrier and you lower your rate and you start taking it for nothing, you're going to have a hell of a time getting your previous rate back, because that customer is going to expect that lower rate, and now you've locked yourself into less revenue that you can charge. And I believe that Oakley is hesitant to do that. Can't say it, I blame them. The other thing that's happened with Oakley, this is just my opinion, a lot of the longer runs, we're not doing them. It seems like they've gone to more of a short haul / mid haul, medium haul length type runs compared to the lengthier runs. Certainly the short to mid-term length runs are more profitable when you come to charging, well, the rates and revenue for those. You always make more on short haul than you do on long haul. The longer the trip, the less the rate, because you're adding more volume and miles to the trip. It's just a fact. Whereas if you could do, okay, let's say you had give you an example. Let's say you have 1,000-mile trip and you rate that. Let's say hypothetically you rate that 1,000-mile trip $1,200. Well, let's say you have 3 trips that are 333.3 miles, and you rate them at $500. Well, you've got 333.33 times 500. It's going to put you almost at $1,600 compared to that 1,000-mile trip at $1,200 to $1,300. You as a company just net profited $300-400 off those 3 trips that you wouldn't have made off that 1,000-mile trip. Now, where's the good and the bad in that? Well, the good in that is that Oakley is maintaining financial stability and making a profit. The bad thing is that the owner-operator isn't getting that 1,000-mile trip, but 3 guys are getting 333.33-mile trips, which certainly don't pay them as much, especially if you load it and you can't get it off till the next day, because now you're kind of sitting on that, trying to get it done. Now, if you could run that 333.33 and kick it off and go grab something else and be gone for the next day, well, then the only thing you're really out is the time and effort to deliver and reload. And an end dump, that doesn't necessarily take all that long. But regardless, you know, they've gone to more, this is my opinion, of that short to medium haul length trips. I think a lot of it's market driven. I think a lot of it's business driven. It's profit driven. You know, there's something to be said here, and that is that revenue feeds the ego, but profit feeds the family. It's all about profit margins, people. I'm not running my truck to make $310,000 a year. I'm running my truck to profit after everything, $140,000 a year, not $100,000 a year. It's all about profit. What do I have at the end of the day? And that's what people look at. okay? So you take Tanner, right? Tanner was looking at his profit margin. What was his net profit at the end? And, you know, bluntly, guys, I think he's mentioned this in some comments, so I can go ahead and say this. You know, he needed more, and the current model that Oakley is using just wasn't what he needed. So he professionally left, moved on to a different company that is providing that different type of work, different length away from home. You know, there's trade-offs to things, but on the surface, it appears that they're going to provide that, and that's fine. I'm happy for him. I hope it works for him. I want nothing but success for him, and there's no harm, no foul in him departing. Okay? He did so the right way. You know, it's a fact of life. People come, people go. Oakley will hire another guy next week to come in, another owner-operator, and they'll just move right along. So it is what it is. If Jimmysroadlyfe left Oakley, okay, I facetiously say they'd miss me for about 5 minutes, and then they would get somebody else in, and they would move right along and be just fine. I had a wise mentor told me once that don't ever get so full of yourself that you think that a company can't operate without you. Okay, they'll talk about you for 5 minutes after you're gone, and then they're back to business and moving on to the next guy, and they don't ever mention your name again because they've moved on. It's a true statement. Okay, no hard feelings. Well, I think people need to do the same thing. Okay, nothing bad, nothing negative. When you move on, you move on. Wish them the best. It was good. Thank you for the work. Appreciate everything you've done. Time to move on, both for them and for the individual. So again, don't read into that too much. It's a really simple equation. I ran some numbers so I could give you guys a statistic. My weekly gross revenue over previous years for the year of 2025 is down roughly $200 to $300. That's it. Truthfully, I was kind of surprised because if you were to ask me on the surface, I would have said that my revenue is way down. It's not. It's down about $200 to $300 compared to the previous 2 years and previous months. Last year, 2024, was my best year. Obviously at Oakley, a full year in pneumatics and vacuum pneumatics. I didn't come back over to end dump till the end of the year. But you put that over the course of a month, and you're looking at $800 to $900 a month. Over the course of a year, it's probably about $10,000 that I should be down in 2025 compared to previous years. Well, I'm not certainly happy that I'm down, roughly $10,000. But then again, I'm not extremely unhappy that I'm down $10,000. Because when you're putting $250,000 to $300,000 on that truck, as far as revenue in a year, well, $200,000 is at $10,000. That's 5%. Okay, over $250,000 to $300,000, it's probably about 3 to 4% that I'm down, compared to 20, 30, 40%. There's some advantages to that. Certainly I'm have less of a tax liability, obviously, by making a little bit less. But it also means that I'm putting less miles and wear and tear on that truck, which is also reducing my maintenance costs and my fuel costs. So my costs are down. So I may be down $10,000 over the year in revenue, but that means I'm also down probably $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in fuel. Okay, I'm down in tire wear. I'm down in oil life, oil usage, etc. Maintenance costs. So there's a byproduct to that isn't all negative. And men and women, I'm not saying this to be in defense of Oakley, to be negative with Oakley or anything. This is just an objective overall view of how things are. So that's where I'm at. Why do I bring all this up? Don't read into everything, okay? That everything's negative, the sky is falling, it's all doom and gloom. Oakley does have a lot of work. They do. I've been very steady I normally don't sit, I'm running. As soon as I get to a place, Bennett and Kyle, my phone's going off with my next load. Sometimes it's a 700-mile load. Sometimes it's a 400-mile load. Sometimes it's a 600-mile load. Sometimes it's a 300-mile load. Okay? So it's just how it's going right now. It is what it is, but I'm moving. And that's what matters. And the other part of that is, you know, I'm steadily working right through my hours of service. And I'm not wasting hours. So if I'm steadily working through my hours of service and I'm not wasting hours, then I'm productive. And that's all that matters to me. You know, I was of the impression that things were worse than they were until I sat down over the weekend and put those numbers together. And that's why I do that. Because it's very important to make sure, good advice for people, that before you start speaking and before you start throwing things around as fact, that you've done a little bit of research, you've done your homework, and you're making sure that the information that you're providing is accurate and current. If not, you're not helping anybody, you're destroying your credibility, and you're destroying your reputation as someone who generally speaks the truth, positive or negative. As I like to say it, you call balls and strikes. And the information that you're giving is reliable. And that is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm providing what I believe to be reliable, accurate, current information based off of my numbers and my experience. So there you have it. Oakley currently is telling men, I'm not mistaken, you can call Kent, you can call Dustin, Harrison, Corey. You know, I prefer you reach out to me, Jimmysroadlyfe, LYFE at gmail.com, and let me submit your name and number for the referral. I kindly ask that, especially if you find value in these videos and it's helped you, then I would kindly ask you to have the courtesy, and I thank you for it, to allow me to submit your name for the referral. And a reminder that the way Oakley operates on referrals, you have to contact me first. I have to submit your information. If you contact Oakley first and say, hey, you know, I'm here because of Jimmy's Road Life, that's great. I appreciate that. I don't get credit for that. So I kindly ask that if you're interested in Oakley and the information that I've provided has been beneficial to you and you want to come over, that you allow me to submit your name and number and let Oakley contact you so I get credit for that. Thank you. And thank you in advance, and to all of the men and women that have reached out to me over time, that have contacted me, that have allowed me to submit their name and number. I genuinely thank you, and I appreciate it. It's helped me. It's helped my family. Thank you, sincerely. That being said, if you contact Oakley or you allow me to submit your name and let Oakley give you a call, what they're going to tell you is that you'll be between 2,000 and 2,300 miles a week. And for me, I interpret this to be men that are going home every weekend. Okay, basically weekday, home every weekend, end dump guys. I'm only specifically talking about end dump right now. And between 2,000 and 2,300 miles a week. And I think that they're telling men that the average net right now is around $3,000 to $3,500. And we're talking net, we're not talking gross. We're talking net. So, and that seems to be about accurate. That's about right. Okay. When I go home every weekend, that's somewhat near the totals that I'm getting. And remember, it's all about averages. You might have a 2,800 mile week. You might have an 1,800 mile week. You might have a 2,500 mile week. You might have a 1,700 mile week. Either way, it's all going to average up. And that's what they're going off of. One thing I give Oakley, they're not lying to you. They're not going to blow smoke. They're not going to give you this pipe dream. Oh yeah, this is what you'll get. And then you show up and you find it's nothing like that at all. No, they're going to shoot straight pool with you guys. I'm going to shoot straight pool with you guys. That's about where it's at right now. Now to say this, was I making more, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago when I started? Certainly I was. Absolutely. Okay. Things were booming. I mean, there was, man alive. It was full go. And, I'm not going to say I didn't like making that extra revenue and that extra profit. Certainly it was great. But right now, again, economy driven, competition driven, market driven, things change. And that's just a fact of business. What I tell men, tell women, look, if this is not a good fit for you, don't do it. Don't come over here expecting something that, that they've told you isn't there and that you're going to get it, because it's not. They're pretty straightforward. If you feel that another company or another entity will better meet your needs and fit what you're looking for, then go there. Okay? Just like guys that don't want to shave. That's fine. Don't shave. Don't lease onto Oakley. Don't entertain them. Okay? Because it's not going to work out. They're not going to let you come over. And if you come over here and you try to skirt that by only shaving once a week, you're going to have a problem. I don't want to hear anything in the comments, blah, 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 shaving. I don't care. I'm just using that as an example. It's really simple, guys. If what they're offering and what their standards are not a good fit for you, then they're not a good fit for you. And Oakley really wouldn't want you to waste your time either. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. But if Oakley is a good fit for you, they're good people. Okay? It's a business. Guys, it's a business. It's a professional business. All right? They expect you to operate your business professionally, and they are going to operate their business professionally, keeping in mind that both entities are there for one thing, to make a profit. People lose sight of that. Okay? They think that everybody owes them something. Nobody owes anybody anything. I often tell people this. Okay, work of any kind is a transaction. That's it. No different than somebody making a transaction on this house. This trash company made a transaction to get those cans, which in turn they made a transaction with that homeowner to allow them to borrow that can for a deposit for however long they use their service. Everything is a transaction. And you agree to that transaction when you come on board. You're given a lease that outlines and defines everything that's expected of you and everything that's expected of them, and Oakley upholds that lease to the letter, both for them and for you. Don't lose sight of that. It's a transaction. And if any part of that transaction you're not comfortable with, then don't sign it. Don't do it. That's the best advice I have for you. There you go. That's a current update on how things are, in my opinion, with the market, with Oakley, with life in general. Okay? It's been a good walk. You guys need to get out and move. Okay? I tell you guys this all the time. You got to eat right. Got to get out and move. Okay? Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Manage your stress. Okay? Think positively. Pray. All right? Reach out to God for help. Which leads me to today's scripture. And guys, I don't remember the exact verse, so forgive me for this. But it is, quite simply, godliness with contentment brings great gain. Godliness with contentment brings great gain. Men, live a godly life. Okay? Be moral. Be proper. Be decent. Okay? Be godly. Don't be some meek little wimpy guy. All right? Be bold for the truth. Be kind. There's a difference between kindness and meekness. Be kind. Be nice. But don't be a wimp. But be godly. Represent. Set the example. And be content. Don't be so driven by material things and greed and those other things in life that you see everybody have. Oh, my neighbor just bought this, whatever it is. Now I got to have one, and you go broke to go get it, okay? Do not covet, all right? Don't covet. That's a sin, all right? All right, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, okay? I mean, it is one of the commandments. And also thy neighbor's four-wheeler or thy neighbor's Raptor F-150. Remember, your neighbor may be dead up to his eyeballs because he bought that. So, hey, don't think the grass is always greener just because you see somebody posted, something that somebody posted on social media. That's not always the case. Just remember that. Godliness with contentment. Be happy with what you have. There's a peace, P-E-A-C-E, about that comes with it. A peace, right? A serenity, a happiness. Godliness with contentment brings great gain. Hope you guys are having the best day of your life. God bless you. Like, dislike, whatever you think the video deserves. Subscribe if you haven't already. To all of my subscribers, I genuinely appreciate you. I hope you've enjoyed this status, this update as I've been out for my walk on this beautiful morning. If you're interested in Oakley again, Jimmysroadlyfe, L-Y-F-E @gmail.com. Happy to help you in any way that I can. And remember, if you're interested in anything that I say about Scripture, That's more important than anything that I ever talk about. You can reach out to me for that as well. All right, y'all take care. Peace out. Bye-bye.